What if the one secret you've guarded your entire life suddenly becomes the headline that changes everything? Adam Thompson stared at the teleprompter, his heart pounding like a drum in his chest. At 32, he was the golden boy of American sports broadcasting, the face of Sports Central on national network TV, a show watched by millions every night from New York to Los Angeles. His quick wit, deep knowledge of every major league, and that signature All-American smile had turned him into a household name. Sponsors loved him. Fans trusted him. But behind the polished suits and perfectly lit studio sets, Adam carried a truth that no one outside a tiny circle was supposed to know. Born and raised in a small conservative town outside Dallas, Texas, Adam had learned early that fitting in was survival. His father, a retired high school football coach with a voice like gravel, had drilled one lesson into him since he could walk. Real men play hard, love women, and never show weakness. When Adam first felt his stomach flip at the sight of the star quarterback in 10th grade, he buried it so deep he almost convinced himself it wasn't real. He dated cheerleaders, joined the team, and smiled through every awkward prom night. College at UCLA was supposed to be his fresh start, but the fear traveled with him. Then he met Ian Ramirez. It happened in the campus library during finals week, the kind of meet-cute that only exists in movies until it doesn't. Ian was a photography major from California, quiet, thoughtful, with warm brown eyes that seemed to see straight through every mask Adam wore. They bonded over late-night coffee runs and shared playlists. One conversation stretched into dawn, and by sunrise Adam knew he was in love for the first time in his life. Their first kiss happened in the shadows of the parking garage behind the arts building, quick and terrified and perfect. For 10 years they built a life in the margins. Adam chased his dream in New York, while Ian built a successful freelance photography career, shooting sports events ironically enough. They kept separate apartments in Brooklyn for appearances, met in secret at quiet restaurants in Queens, and never posted photos together. Ian never complained, not out loud. He understood the industry, understood Adam's family, understood the stakes. But lately the silences between them had grown heavier. Last month Ian had said it plainly over dinner. "I can't keep being your secret forever, Adam. It's starting to feel like I don't exist." Tonight was supposed to be just another broadcast. The network had hyped the post-Super Bowl special all week. Ratings were already projected to smash records. Adam sat at the anchor desk in his charcoal suit, earpiece buzzing with producer chatter, while the floor manager counted down. 5, 4, 3. The red light blinked on. He opened with the usual highlights, voice steady as always. Then the script in his mind vanished. Instead of transitioning to the next segment, Adam looked straight into camera one and said the words he had rehearsed in the shower for months. "Before we go to break, there's something I need to tell all of you. Something I've hidden for a long time because I was scared. My name is Adam Thompson, and I'm gay. I've been in a committed relationship with an incredible man named Ian for 10 years. He's the reason I smile on this desk every night. And tonight, I'm done hiding him." The studio went dead silent. The producer's voice exploded in his earpiece. "What the hell are you doing?" But Adam kept talking, calm now, the weight finally lifting. "I know this might cost me everything. My job, my sponsors, maybe even my family. But I love Ian more than I fear losing any of that. He deserves to be seen. And I deserve to stop lying." The control room erupted. Phones lit up like fireworks. Social media detonated within seconds. By the time the network cut to commercial, the hashtag Adam Comes Out was trending worldwide. Viewership counters on the bottom of the screen spiked so fast the graphics couldn't keep up. Millions more tuned in, waiting to see what happened next. Back in their Brooklyn apartment, Ian stood frozen in front of the television, coffee mug trembling in his hand. He hadn't known Adam would do this. They had argued about timing last night, but Adam had promised nothing rash. Now the secret was out, and the entire country was watching. Ian's phone started ringing before the commercial even ended. Unknown numbers. Reporters. His own mother in California, sounding equal parts shocked and proud. But Ian could only stare at the screen, heart hammering. Adam had just risked his entire career for them, and Ian hadn't been warned. The love he felt twisted with something sharper, betrayal maybe, or fear that their carefully balanced life was about to shatter. In the studio, chaos reigned. The floor manager yanked Adam's microphone pack, while security ushered him to a side office. His boss, a no-nonsense woman named Carla who had mentored him for 6 years, burst in red-faced. "Are you insane? Do you have any idea what you've just done to the brand?" Sponsors were already calling. 2 major advertisers threatened to pull out. But the ratings graph on her tablet showed something else, the highest spike in the network's history. People weren't turning away. They were flooding in. Adam sat on the couch, tie loosened, hands shaking for the first time since he'd stepped on set. "I couldn't keep pretending, Carla. Not anymore." She stared at him like he was a stranger, then sighed and left to deal with the fallout. Alone in the office, Adam pulled out his phone and typed one message to Ian. "I'm sorry I didn't tell you first. I love you. Come to the studio if you can." Meanwhile, back in Texas, Adam's father slammed his fist on the kitchen table so hard the plates jumped. His mother stood pale, clutching her rosary. The local news had already picked up the story. "Our son," his father growled. "On national television? With a man?" Years of Sunday sermons and locker room talks flooded back. Adam's younger sister texted him immediately, "Dad's losing it. Mom's crying." "What were you thinking?" The drive home that night felt endless. Adam took a cab to Brooklyn, avoiding the crowds gathering outside the network building. When he opened the apartment door, Ian was waiting, arms crossed, eyes red. The confrontation that followed was quiet but devastating. Ian spoke first. "You made me part of your spectacle without asking. I've spent 10 years protecting you, and you just threw us both into the fire." Adam tried to explain the years of suffocating silence, the way the secret had started poisoning everything good between them. They talked until sunrise, voices cracking, tears falling. By morning they weren't broken, but the cracks were visible. Ian agreed to stand by him, but the trust had taken a hit. The next 48 hours were a whirlwind. Adam's phone never stopped. Offers from progressive networks poured in. Hate mail filled his inbox. A former colleague who had always joked about finding Adam a wife leaked old photos from college parties to tabloids, trying to paint him as a fraud. The betrayal stung deeper than expected. Adam had considered that man a friend. Yet something else was happening. Support messages from young athletes, from other closeted broadcasters, from parents whose kids had come out. Ian's Instagram, once private, filled with thousands of new followers sharing their own stories. For the first time, Adam felt seen, not just watched. The following week tested every foundation they had built. Adam was placed on indefinite leave, while the network conducted an internal review. Sponsors dropped like dominoes. His agent warned that the conservative sports world might never welcome him back. Ian's photography gigs dried up overnight. Clients suddenly remembered they needed family-friendly imagery. The couple retreated to their apartment, ordering takeout and watching the news cycle spin. Adam's family flew in unannounced. His father refused to look at Ian, speaking only to Adam in clipped sentences. "You embarrassed us. The whole town is talking." His mother hugged him tightly but whispered, "I just want you to be happy, even if I don't understand." The conversation ended in tears and slammed doors. Adam stood on the sidewalk watching their cab disappear, feeling like the boy who once hid in his bedroom closet all over again. Ian suggested they leave New York for a while. A friend offered a cabin upstate. They packed in silence, the drive north filled with long stretches of quiet. At the cabin, surrounded by pine trees and quiet lake water, the real conversations began. Ian admitted how invisible he had felt for years. Adam confessed the terror that had kept him silent, the fear that coming out would mean losing the career he had sacrificed everything for. They walked the trails each morning, held hands without looking over their shoulders for the first time in a decade. Slowly, the anger softened into understanding. One night by the fireplace, Ian said, "I'm proud of you for what you did. I just wish we had done it together." Back in the city, the story refused to die. A major streaming service approached Adam with an offer to host a new show focused on inclusive sports stories. The pay was better than his old contract. Ian received a contract to photograph the U.S. Olympic team, ironically because of the visibility the announcement had given him. But the hate lingered too. They received death threats. A protest formed outside their building one weekend. Adam's sister called in tears after their father suffered a mild heart scare, blaming the stress on Adam's choice. The lowest point came when an old college roommate sold a story claiming Adam had hidden his sexuality to advance his career. The article went viral. Ian found Adam in the bathroom, staring at his reflection, whispering, "Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm a fraud." Ian pulled him into an embrace. "You're the bravest person I know. Don't let them rewrite our story." That night, they made a decision. Adam would fight back, not with anger, but with honesty. He booked a long-form interview on a respected morning show. Ian agreed to appear beside him. For the first time, they would tell their full story together, no scripts, no hiding. The interview aired on a crisp October morning. Millions tuned in again, this time not for shock, but for truth. Adam spoke about growing up terrified of disappointing his father. Ian described the loneliness of loving someone who couldn't hold his hand in public. They answered every tough question with dignity. When the host asked if Adam regretted the on-air announcement, he looked at Ian and said, "The only thing I regret is waiting so long. Love shouldn't have to hide to survive." The response was overwhelming. Sponsors who had left returned with apologies. The network offered Adam his job back with new creative freedom. His father sent a short text 2 days later. "I watched. I don't understand yet, but I'm trying. Tell Ian I said hello." It wasn't acceptance, but it was a door cracking open. Still, the journey wasn't over. Adam's closest friend from the network, the one who had leaked the photos, reached out asking for forgiveness. The betrayal had nearly cost them everything. Adam met him for coffee and listened to the excuses rooted in fear and jealousy. Instead of rage, Adam felt pity. He forgave, but the friendship ended there. Some bridges, once burned, teach you how to build stronger ones elsewhere. Ian's family, always more supportive, threw them a belated engagement party in California. For the first time, Adam stood in a room full of people who knew exactly who he was and celebrated it. Watching Ian laugh with his cousins, Adam realized the life he had feared losing was being replaced by something richer. Winter brought new challenges. Adam returned to the anchor desk with a rainbow pin on his lapel. Ratings stayed high, but some viewers boycotted. Death threats continued, forcing them to hire security for public appearances. Through it all, they leaned on each other. Late nights talking through panic attacks. Mornings where Ian made coffee exactly the way Adam liked it. Small acts that proved love could endure the spotlight. One evening after a long broadcast, Adam came home to find Ian waiting with plane tickets. 2 weeks in Hawaii. No phones, no cameras, just us. They needed the reset. On the beach at sunset, Ian dropped to one knee with a simple silver band. "I've loved you through every secret and every storm. Marry me, Adam." Out here in the open where the whole world already knows. Adam said yes before the question finished. The wedding planning became its own quiet revolution. They chose a small ceremony in upstate New York with only close friends and family who had earned their place. Adam's mother flew in early to help choose flowers, a gesture that meant more than words. His father sent a card but stayed home, still wrestling with old beliefs. Ian's family filled the gaps with laughter and stories. The night before the wedding, Adam stood on the porch of the venue, staring at the stars. Ian joined him, slipping an arm around his waist. 10 years ago, I never imagined we'd be here," Adam whispered. Ian smiled. "I did. I just waited for you to catch up." The ceremony itself was simple and beautiful. Vows exchanged under an oak tree, rings slipped on with steady hands, kisses that carried a decade of hidden longing. No cameras, no headlines, just two men promising forever in front of the people who mattered. Life after the wedding settled into a new rhythm. Adam's show evolved into one of the most watched sports programs in the country, now openly inclusive. He mentored young broadcasters struggling with their own identities. Ian's photography exhibited in galleries across the country, images of athletes who looked like them. Together, they started a foundation supporting LGBTQ youth in sports, turning their pain into purpose. Yet growth never comes without setbacks. A major sponsor pulled out again after a conservative backlash campaign. Adam faced online trolls who accused him of ruining sports. During one particularly dark week, Ian found him on the balcony ready to quit everything. "Remember why you spoke that night," Ian said softly. "Not for them. For us. For every kid who needs to see it's possible." Adam stayed. The storm passed. New sponsors arrived, bigger than before. His father finally visited New York for Christmas, awkward at first, but by the end of the week he shook Ian's hand and called him son. The word hung in the air like a miracle. Spring brought the ultimate test. A rival network tried to lure Adam away with more money, but demanded he tone down the activism. He turned them down without hesitation. I didn't come out to go back in the closet for a paycheck. That decision led to the launch of his own production company with Ian as creative director. Their first project, a documentary following young gay athletes across America. The film premiered at a major festival and won awards, proving that authenticity could be both powerful and profitable. Years passed, but the memory of that single broadcast night never faded. It had been the moment everything broke and everything began. Adam and Ian built a home in the suburbs, adopted a rescue dog, and hosted backyard barbecues where laughter drowned out old ghosts. Adam's career flourished in ways he never imagined possible when he sat at that anchored desk terrified. Ian's art touched millions through exhibitions and books. They returned to Texas once a year for family gatherings. Adam's father still struggled with certain topics, but he showed up. He even wore a small rainbow pin to one game, hidden under his jacket, but visible to anyone who looked closely. Small steps, but steps nonetheless. One evening, sitting on their porch watching fireflies, Adam turned to Ian and asked the question that had started it all in a different way. If you could go back, would you change anything? Ian thought for a long moment. I wouldn't change the love. I wouldn't change the fight. But I'd tell my younger self to be louder sooner. We both deserved to live out loud from the beginning. They had learned that secrets, no matter how well kept, eventually demand their price. The courage to speak them aloud didn't erase the pain, but it transformed it into something shared, something that could heal. Their story wasn't perfect. There were still tough days, misunderstandings, moments when the world felt too loud. But they faced them together, two men who had chosen each other when everything else tried to pull them apart. Adam's hand found Ian's in the dark. Thank you for staying when it would have been easier to leave. Ian squeezed back. Thank you for finally letting the world see us. In the distance, city lights glowed. Somewhere out there, another young man was probably sitting in front of a television, heart racing, wondering if his own truth could ever be spoken. Adam hoped their story reached him. Hoped it gave him the courage they had needed years ago. The journey that began with a single shocking sentence on live television had become a lifetime of quiet victories. Love had survived the spotlight, the backlash, the betrayals, and the fear. It had grown stronger because it was finally free. Looking back at Adam and Ian's story, the clearest truth is that authenticity isn't a single bold moment, but a daily choice to live without apology. Coming out on live television didn't magically fix everything. It simply opened the door to real healing. The pain of family rejection, the sting of betrayal, the terror of losing a career, all of it taught them that love worth having is love worth fighting for. The lesson is simple yet profound. Hiding who you are may feel safe, but it slowly erodes the soul. Speaking your truth, even when the world is watching, creates space for genuine connection, growth, and peace. Their journey reminds us that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing to move forward anyway, hand in hand with the person who sees the real you. In the end, the record-breaking viewership wasn't the victory. The victory was two men finally able to love openly in the light they once feared.